It's time for the Dynamics podcast, and today we're talking to Microsoft Business Solution MVP Kelly Kane. She is the manager of information system at Algood Foods, making peanut butter jelly time all day. We should talk to her about all their systems that they've implemented. They're actually on RTM, and we'll talk to her about her experience with that. We'll talk about their future plans of upgrading to Dynamics 365 for finance and operation, and also her experience within the AXUG and also Women in Dynamics. Stay tuned.
This is the Dynamics Podcast, Episode 19, recorded September 12, 2017. Women in Dynamics, with MVP Kelly Kane.
My name is Fredrik Sætre, and joining me today is my lovely colleague and the King of the North, Tommy Skaue. Hello, Tommy.
Hi, Fredrik.
Hi.
Oh, King of the North. What is that, like Game of Thrones reference, isn't it?
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, you said on Facebook that you might start watching Game of Thrones, and I know you started. So how far along are you right now?
It's season 2. It's kind of horrible because just a week after I started watching it, I saw an article on in an online newspaper. This is the most horrible ways people have been killed in the Game of Thrones, and I clicked into it, and now I know a lot of people are going to die. So yeah,
that is kind of how it works. So if you wouldn't mind, go on your Twitter handle is @Skaue.
Yeah,
it's like your last name. Please don't post any Game of Thrones reference and who's going to die on @Skaue on Twitter. So don't do that. Please tag @Skaue on Twitter for any Game of Thrones reference. Don't.
Well, don't worry about it. I mean, I can still enjoy the show, even though I know people are going to die.
Oh, yeah. And Tom, we have to talk about this because we next week we're going to Dynamics user group in Oslo.
Yep.
Which is the Norway kind of equivalent. They got kind of the jump on us on the AXUG group, and they're kind of ranking up a couple of cool people, and it's going to be a very, very nice seminar. It's going to be in Norwegian, but and so this guy who's arranging it from Common Norway, I got in touch with him, and I wanted to ask him if we can do some sort of session right there. So we're going to have a sit down with me and you and Kurt Hatlevik, who was on an earlier episode. All MVPs are going to be there, and in that same thing they did, and they were trying to do sort of like an expose on us. They did an interview from a newspaper, and they're going to post an article in what's called basically Financial Times, right? And, well, thing is, we sent pictures, right? And I wasn't ready for this because, I was thinking they did the disposition on the page. It looked pretty similar, but then it kind of went on the newspaper. I felt that kind of, here's you see here. Here's Tommy. It says Microsoft most valuable. And here's me. This is the photo of me. That's me. Tiny photo. So, and I think the only reason why is because I sent a high resolution image.
Yeah, that's probably true. She asked for a high res image. I sent her one. She asked for another picture with higher resolution. I sent her yet another one, and it probably wasn't high enough.
So yeah, that's I was the only one getting that enormous picture.
No, you liked it.
My mother liked it, I think. Yeah, my parents are pretty enthusiastic about me being in a big paper. But enough about us. Let's talk to today's guest. Hello, Kelly.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going great. How are you? And where are you?
I'm in the middle of a European vacation. I'm in Brussels.
In Brussels. Cool. Oh, that's just south of here. So it's evening time.
It is.
Yep. In the kitchen.
Yep. My sister's house.
Make-
So if the Wi-Fi cuts out, not my problem.
It's not your problem's probably not your fault. It's our problem, right?
Right.
Or it's
Maybe.
it's all the listeners' problem. I'd kind of cut out there a bit. So
Man.
no, it's good. So Kelly, you've recently been awarded the MVP award. Tell us about it.
In March this year.
Yeah, tell us about that. How was that receiving that award?
It was a little unexpected. This actually came about because of Belinda Allen, a GP MVP. She went to the MVP Summit earlier last year and noticed that there weren't a lot of women in the business solutions or as MVPs. So she went on a mission to get women more involved.
Yeah.
So that's how I got in.
Yeah, we met Belinda in at the AXUG Summit, right, Tommy? Yeah.
Yep. I met her before at previous MVP summits over in the States.
Is she still a GP MVP? I thought she was going like to be a Power BI MVP now, or both. She's everywhere.
She is.
So what do you feel? You contribute to the community extensively through multiple channels, and one of them is of course your lovely blog at AXUG. And so if you go to axug.com, you'll find everything. Kelly, is this sort of like a reference to being in the kitchen? Because we're going to talk about it, like women in dynamics. I'm not going to like post a stereotype, but I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. Well,
have you ever heard of TalkSoup?
No.
It's a comedy show, and this guy gets on, talks about celebrities, different things that they do, makes it funny, and that's where I came up with the idea.
Cool. Yeah, so trying to keep it light and funny.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The blog posts are a little funny sometimes. I laugh.
You laugh writing them. It's like
internal
humors and stuff. Do you have to follow is there a lot of internal jokes that you kind of have to read the blog to catch up with things that you write?
Some of them you might have to know me in order to get them.
Well, that's nice. So you kind of get to know yourself through this blog.
Yes.
Yeah. And coming up, Summits 2017, you are involved in the AXUG.
Yes, I am.
Tell us about how you kind of got involved with AXUG. Or should we back it up even further? I normally say this, I haven't said it to you, but we always ask the question, who you are, what you do, and how'd you get there?
So my name is Kelly Kane. I am the manager of information systems at Algood Food Company in Louisville, Kentucky, in the United States. We manufacture peanut butters, jellies, jams, preserves, and all basically for private labels. So we produce at least 200 different labels of peanut butters, jellies, jams, and preserves.
Cool.
Yeah. So when we first started to implement AX, it was 2012. And we were one of the very first people to go onto AX 2012. And we are running AX 2012 RTM, which people are like, right?
What?
I like your face there.
Okay. Wow.
I know. So prior to that, I was the HR manager. And my boss looped me into the project, said, we really don't have very many technical people here. You have a high aptitude for this. You're very good at understanding different things. Would you be willing to step into this role and work on the implementation? I said, sure. So I learned a lot. And that's kind of where the idea for my blog came from. Was when I first started, it was just completely overwhelming learning an ERP system. So what I down in the ERP world, in AX world, and make it really easy for people to understand. So if you're going to log into my blog and read it, you're going to find, hey, if I'm trying to make a purchase order, how do I do this? Or how do I see my past purchase history on something? I put it all out there. I say, hey, I just listen to people, and this is what keeps happening. These are different things that keep popping up in my world, so I'm going to write about it.
Oh, so you came from HR, but now you cover multiple. So what's your role now? You were HR, but now you're this.
I'm the manager of information systems.
Wow. Yeah.
Yep.
So you deal with basically any type of process within your company.
Yeah, a lot of different systems. I work with pretty much everything now. So that's been like a 5-year transition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on RTM, it probably is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why would you still be on? Is it that you've dug a hole and you've customized?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a big piece of it. And we are looking to go to Dynamics 365 in 2019, early 2019. And I have told my team that we are not going to customize like we did before, because I want to be able to upgrade in a more timely fashion.
Yeah. It can be it can go on, be a consequence for the business processes, of course, but
right.
I think you have to give some, and then you'll gain it in the future somehow. And there's a lot of functionality that you probably can use as a workaround to solve intermediate issues that you might have that might be solved in the future. But if you customized it, you definitely won't get that thing that comes in the future, right? So,
just along, there have been so many things that we've picked up and said, "Oh, hey, why did we customize this when we could have just done it this way?" And that's been a big thing for us, is just kind of opening our eyes to see how we can use the system in a different way.
How is the relationship with a partner during this? Has that been you have the same partner throughout the entire experience, or changed partners?
We have.
Yep.
We did have the same partner. They were recently acquired by another company, so they have grown. So
still the same people.
Kind of still working with them. Yeah, still the same people. It's just they're under a different name now.
I see that a lot of like consolidations of partners right now, and the smaller partners I think will have to like be consumed by the larger partners to be able to deliver these types of systems that we're looking at right now. It is
right.
starting to get pretty big, at least when you consider all the other applications that like sales and these things. So going forward, will you implement only operations, or are you looking to extend the platform?
Well, I would like to implement the HR stuff that's now out there. The
talent.
Yes, I couldn't remember what it's called. I should know this better, but I do think that would be really beneficial. I'd have to get the HR team on board. They did not like base AX HR. I don't think many people do. So they have their own standalone system they're currently using.
What do you feel is missing from the standard HR?
So much. I mean, it's just, everything is very cumbersome. There's a lot of clicking around, and it isn't easy.
No.
And really just to enter a new employee, there's just so many different things like, oh, hey, I got to connect it to this, but then I have to do this. So
yeah,
it's not very intuitive.
No. So through your blog and your experience, when did you get involved with the AXUG?
We were partway through our implementation process. We had a very long implementation process, and I think that's another reason we're very hesitant to move forward. But I've gotten on the Dynamics 365 train. I'm very excited about that. Going to move forward. I hope to go with sales. I hope to go with all of it. So, I mean, the whole CRM, everything. We're going to do it all. But yeah, it took a while for everybody to recover from our really long implementation. So we got some bad advice in the beginning. there are definitely some things that you should and shouldn't do when you're in the middle of an implementation. One thing is go parallel. Don't do it. I tell people all the time, I'm like, don't do it. And if you're going to do it, only do a very short parallel. Don't let it stretch on for like a year. So,
what system do you come from? We
run an AS400.
Well, respect to that. That's cool. I've said it before. That was kind of the only reference that Satya Nadella actually worked on and had. I posted a video on my Twitter feed where he actually connects Excel through some Ole systems up to an AS400 to get business data out.
That's awesome.
So it is, right? Yeah. So you joined AXUG, the user group, and how did you get into that, and what was your experience working with them?
Not heard of the AX user group, but my partner told me about it. We were actually sitting down, just kind of having a lunch, having a chat, and they said, have you considered joining the AX users group? And I said, what's that? And they said, well, it's a group where people can get together, talk more about the product. You can get some ideas off other people. Eventually, maybe you'll start presenting to them. And I laughed. I said, there's no way I won't get that involved. And I did. So I'm actually now one of the more involved people in the user group. I started a webinar series called AX for Dummies. And it's just basically taking very simple, short pieces of the system, breaking it down in layman's terms, making it really simple for people. I've had CEOs of companies write to me and say, hey, this is great for me. Now I know what my people are doing. And I've had people say, we use these for training. So when we get somebody new into a role, we like to put them out there and show them AX for Dummies. So I'm not the only presenter in that anymore. I used to be the only presenter last year, and I ended up doing several months of it, and it was a little taxing. So we've pulled in some other presenters, and now we have probably 5 or 6 different people that are AX for Dummies presenters.
That is awesome.
Yeah. My whole big thing is getting the new users engaged early. I really think that that's important. That didn't happen at my company. It was really painful. So I really want people to have a good experience with AX or with Dynamics 365, any system that they're using. I think that it's really important just to get in there, see what the system can do, and really get your feet wet, try to figure things out on your own, and you can really do a lot of cool things. I mean, if you could just start them off showing them, hey, you can personalize your screen. I love that. People think that's fantastic, I mean,
until you lose your customizations.
Hey, if I could do that, can I do this? I usually warn them in advance if I'm gonna, do something. Like, I'm gonna have to clear your usage data.
Yeah. Don't do that. It's that's probably
try
one of the
not
worst
to.
things. Oh yeah. Sorry, isn't it working? You'll clear your user data. That's the first thing. It's like pre-support.
It's like the last place I go. I try to do everything else first, and I'm like, all right, you may lose some personalizations. It's going to be okay.
That's the difference between consultants and kind of end users. Well, that's the first one we pull out. It's always the customization. So remove your user. No. And then the next time they're trying to post some type of journal, their settings are reset and they'll post something wrong. And then.
Well, if I could kick in as a developer, I don't typically like that the user has customized the form because they sort of override the stuff I've done. So to be perfectly honest, and sometimes my changes doesn't even show unless I clean the user data. So yeah. What I typically ask is this customization of the form something that you're sharing with the rest of the guys sitting on the same floor? Maybe we can put it back into the system so it doesn't get lost. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah. I like it.
It's 12 hours of development work.
Well, maybe 1 hour.
Yeah, and then you have to compile and lift it to staging and compile staging and then take down the live environment, and then you have to move the model store, and then you can start up live again. And no, it's a walk in the park. And everybody's like, why do you want extensions? Why extensions? Like, have you tried making code for the X 2012? It's like,
but it's an interesting point Kelly made earlier by they haven't been able to keep their application updated, and they want to upgrade to AX7 or Dynamics 365 for operations, so they can keep themselves up to date, and they're going to get that with AX7, and I keep calling it AX7. I'm sorry, guys.
it's the version number. It's the version number.
Yeah. But they're gonna get that, and even if they add customizations as extensions, they can do that as well, and still be on the latest and the greatest quicker. We have a lot of customers running AX 2012 running on outdated versions of the application, and I think it's more typical than the other option, basically. So
yeah, I think the concept of the like the full seal compilation kind of took everybody by, at least if you're on the RTM, you probably experienced this, because then you were so early in the implementation phase that you kind of, and the problem was that the partners kind of didn't catch on to that. There had to be some developers and some partners who did, but I think more often, yeah, the rule has to be that they probably didn't catch on to that. And so they would still, and the globalization of parameters and global address books and global, like, storage dimension groups and these things, which are global, they didn't catch on to that. So the first implementations on RTM, kind of sketchy. We have a customer that we took over from another partner that we took over, and like they've got test companies in their live environment. It's like,
oh
no, that's.
Yeah.
No, don't do that. I've created like 50 new customer contacts. Like, oh yeah, you'll see that in live as well. Yes, in these new storage dimensions we're playing around with. Yeah, it's still affecting your live environment. So don't do that. And I think that's just like Microsoft has changed from what they did in from 2009 and the release that they did there, and the mess they did with role centers. It took like a year before they came out with a white paper saying that, it takes about 8 days to do the reduction of the cubes. And you have to do that manually, like code yourself out of it and search for strings and do deletes. And that was if you didn't have a full license, right? So,
yeah.
So there's a couple of scenarios where that has happened, but the end product is that a good partner that is early into the technology and like jumps into it with everything they got and try to learn it, they'll be more prepared to do these things early on. But it's always the first customers that gets the stick.
Yeah, but with the AX 2012, even though it's easier to make customizations without them being too obtrusive with the standard code and the standard application, it's still very easy to overlay the standard code, and that just makes upgrading hard. But I think with AX7, this is really going to change a lot of things in those regards. It's going to be way easier. It's a big step in the right directions in terms of supporting both customizations, so that you can customize your solution and also have the option to stay updated. So it's a huge technology shift in the right direction.
Yeah.
But you can't do changes to every.
We have way too many customizations in our environment. I mean, it's unreal. It's unreal.
But did you mean that the customizations, some of the customizations you have is just basically because you didn't know it was possible to do in standard?
A lot of it, yes, yeah. And once we figured it out and really got into the system, it's like, hey, we didn't even really need to do that because we can just do it this way and it works better. Yeah. So I think that education is really important for people, and that's why I'm so involved in the user group, and that's why I write a blog.
I think it's true for a lot of implementations that not knowing standard enough is the way to introduce a lot of customizations, basically. And so, yeah. And you know a lot about this, Fredrik.
The changes is because what's going to be really difficult for people to understand is like when workflows came, he was like, well, you can make a workflow for it. Well, workflow doesn't work everywhere. The workflow is for specific small, and we're going to see that with customizations now as well. It's like, well, we can just make a customization. It's like, nope, no hooks there, so you can't kind of do that. Rethink it, which is gonna, I think, increase the cost level for some customers, but it's gonna force customers to kind of adapt to the system, and it's so configurable. You can do so much with it. It's like there's a case where we went in it's not that long ago where we kind of had to. There was a customer that was doing an implementation, and the mother company came in and they wanted to kind of have governance over that. You kind of know this case, Tommy. And so what happened was that the partner had only met the end customer of that small company, and they had come from AX 4.0. They wanted to upgrade it, but when you're in the customer meeting and they say, I want a customization here, and if you're that partner, you'll say, yeah, well, sure, if you don't have any governance. So I think we went from like 70 customization down to 5 based on like just trying to reduce that. Then you have to be you would probably have to be a bit tough on them, because they do still want that, and there are some justifications, like business processes can be done faster, and you'll probably, if you use 2 hours on some process every day, a customization that takes a couple of hours to make will probably make sense, right? So we have so many tools now. Have you looked at Power Apps?
Not really, no. I've been really busy. I've been training some people. I've been spending pretty much this year trying to get my whole department ready for, just learning as much as they can about AX, so when we move forward, we can make really good decisions.
Yeah.
That's a wise choice. Yeah.
Very nice. So how long did the implementation take when you went from AS 400 and into?
Oh, I want to say it was a 2-year implementation. It was really long.
Yeah. And you had some parallel period there where you used. So how did that work? What did you use in the old system, and what did you have financials in the new system, or logistics in the new system and financials in the old?
Yeah, everything. And the only thing was our controller wanted to have everything match to the penny, and what she did not understand was AX and AS400 don't really do math the same way. Things are calculated on such a more granular level in AX than it is in the AS400. So, it was really hard to do. And finally, the board stepped in and just said, we have to go.
Well, that's good. That's a good story. It would be worse the other way around. It's like, no, let's not go with a new system, because there are companies who have boards that say, let's not go with a new system. That old system works just perfectly. But okay, if you're on an AS400, not the argument.
That was probably an unsupported system, right? It was out of support.
I hope.
Yeah, I think the version we were on was. It was actually almost as old as I am.
Okay. Yeah, well, but the thing you have a lot of customers out there right now running AX 2009. And that system is out of mainstream support the 10th of April next year, which means that they won't be able to get any support. They won't get any support. They could buy I think it's like a premium support agreement, but it's quite expensive. Mm-hmm. They can get patches for hotfixes, but not. And in addition, that what we've seen in Norway and in Europe is that there are features that you are forced to implement. So either you get that from Microsoft standard, or you have to have some developers create those features for you. So anyone running AX 2009 should really get on upgrade it, I guess.
They should at least start talking about it and planning and
Yeah.
getting in contact with some type of partner if you're on AX 2009 and haven't considered it, you probably want to change partner because they should have been on you like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
I went to the D365 Tech Conference earlier this year, and there was a really good session about upgrading. And Microsoft was really pushing the 2009 people to upgrade because I said, "Hey, I'm on 2012. I'm ready." And they're like, "We'll get you later."
Yeah.
We really want these 2009 people. They were offering discounts. They were offering, I mean, just so many awesome things. And they had these different tools. And I mean, I think the tools for 2012 transition are just a little bit better, but they had stuff for 2009. They were showing how they worked. And then the discounts. I mean, I think that was a huge incentive for a lot of people to say, hey, maybe we need to look at this now because Microsoft is making it just a little bit cheaper for us.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so I haven't played with it myself, but the AX 2009 upgrade is like a source to target type of upgrade where you install some bits in your source system to prepare your source system. And then you can use those tools to create data packages, which you know from AX7 with the data management. And those packages can then be read into the target system or your test target system or what have you. While the AX 2012 upgrade, and that's yet another upgrade I haven't been able to play with, but it's what they call like an in-place upgrade, where you actually take your AX 2012 database and you upgrade directly on it.
Not if you're on RTM, though, right?
No, RTM is a problem. I think
Not yet.
I think it's
I'm
R3.
hoping.
Yeah, well,
I am hopeful.
You would probably have to do a migration to R3 and then do the upgrade.
I've done RTM upgrades to R2. I wonder if I've done any RTM to R3, but that was RTM with the foundation pack. Are you on the foundation pack?
I don't think so.
You don't think? Okay, so you're on like the R0.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Good luck with that.
Thanks, guys.
Well, you have a network of other people around you now who want to help you. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Well, I keep asking Shelly. I'm like, "Hey, I'm ready," and she's like, RTM." So.
Right. That's
Shelly at Microsoft. She heads the MVP program. So I've thrown it out there, and she just. I was like, I'm really enthusiastic. I said, I'll make it happen.
You're next in line, sort of. She says.
Sort of. She's like, yeah. So maybe if she watches this, she could see my little plug here and say, "Please help me. I want to go."
So Shelly,
without upgrading again.
It's going to be the same. It's going to be like a parallel in a 2-year thing until you're up.
And then I won't upgrade again for another 5-6 years because it's too painful.
You don't have to. You're on AX7. It's like a service.
I know. It's supposed to just. I know. It's supposed to do it for me. It makes me nervous a little bit, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I want to see how other people are doing on it.
Oh, you mean like running an automated update of your ERP solution, basically? Is that what you're thinking about? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have a lot of custom data that you've created in the system that won't match the new system.
I think so, and I think that's what's going to make it really difficult. So. It's just
so
we're gonna have to see.
That gives you an out, and this is important because now you can say, well, we have all this crappy data. It's not going to work on the new system. Let's start from scratch. Because when you pull up your data with you, you get all the crap with you, right? So all of the bad experience is like colonoscopy. It's like, that's not what you call it. That's no. It's what is good when you cleanse everything. Is like that. And so you just get rid of all the crap. Do that. And so I would definitely try and go that way, and just say at least all the transactions can go. We can lift our products and resources and whatnot, but let's get rid of the trash.
Okay. Well, Kelly, talk about women in dynamics. I almost had one foot in there at one point in time.
You did, yes, yeah, Tammy.
Well, in any case, because there are a lot of women in dynamics, and they would probably want to hear, what is that?
Well, we have a special interest group, a SIG, in the AX user group for women. Women in tech, it's just, there aren't that many, and we really need a lot of support. We need to be there for each other. And what we do is we just we have a forum on the AXUG site, AXUG.com/women. This is actually for all the user groups, though. It takes you to the Dynamic Community's parent site, and we have our own special forum there. So I can talk to women in GP, women in CRM-UG, women in all of them, NAV. I mean, so they're all there, and we all talk to each other. And basically, it's just, hey, who's going to this? Or, hey, read this article. It's really interesting. And we're basically a support group to kind of keep ourselves in tech. The men in the dynamics world are pretty fantastic. You guys are pretty great. So we're not dealing with a whole lot of, bad stuff. I've heard horror stories in other tech industries. The dynamics men are pretty fantastic. So we're doing great. But a big eye opener for me is when I went to the D365 Tech Conference earlier this year in March. There were 1,600 people there, and only 100 were women. Right. I don't know if you noticed that. You were there, Tommy. You were there. So did you notice that?
It makes the dances awkward. Can you go ahead?
Well,
yeah, I mean,
it's the bathroom situation amazing, but
that's true.
Yeah,
that's where we had our first Women in Dynamics meetup, and we actually got little pins that say Women in Dynamics, and we actually met up at a bar, and I think about 30 women showed up. We had a great time. It was just really cool to sit down and talk to other people that are, working in dynamics like you and are kind of dealing with the same situations and struggles that you're dealing with. So that's all it is. It's just a support group, really.
Yeah. And networking, I guess.
Yeah, networking. That's
perfect.
That's Belinda Allen. That's how I met some other great women in dynamics. So there's an event that's going to happen at Summit this year on the Wednesday night. It is going to be at 8:15 at the Crystal Gazebo at the Gaylord, and that will be a Women in Dynamics meetup, and it should be pretty huge.
So by announcing it, you're not worried that there's going to be there's going to be a long line of men outside wanting to get in?
I mean, we'll turn them away at the door. I mean, we're very accepting, but we're like, this is for girls. This is the girls' club. You guys go bowling or something.
Is it a closed forum? You can't get in?
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, if you really wanted to, you probably could go and get into it, but we'd be like, who is this guy? What is he posting here?
Crashing the party.
We haven't had any infiltrators yet.
Well, just you wait until Tommy gets there.
He'll just sign up as Tammy.
I'll just go right in.
I tried.
We still needed to make that hashtag happen. Tammy is pretty, remember?
Okay, I'm gonna blush.
We'll filter it out and post that at Tommy. No, but yeah. So you kind of blocked out just when you said the URL. So it's AXUG.com/women.
Women, yes.
In plural.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a perfect chance to talk about Nashville.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So tell us about Nashville. What's going to happen there?
Well, so as you guys might know, is I am very involved in the AXUG community, the 365UG AXUG community. That's getting on. Just sure we'll touch on that, right? But I am super involved with the committee. I actually lead a track. My track is called the AX for Beginners track. So I'm the one who kind of pulls together all these different people within the community and says, hey, why don't you teach about this? Or, hey, I heard you have a really good presentation on this. Would you like to present? And people submit their tracks or their sessions to my track. And I, along with a partner and a Microsoft member, go through and actually sort through and determine who gets to present in the AX for Beginners track. So Summit is happening this year in October 10th through the 13th. It's in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a short drive for me. I'm so excited. Usually it's really far away. So this time I'm really excited because I'm going to get to drive. Nashville, Tennessee is the country music capital of the world. Don't know if you guys know that.
Oh, yeah.
So when you come, bring cowboy hats, big belt buckle, some cowboy boots, skinny jeans. You got this.
Yeah.
We're not going this year.
No, we're not going, but I wish I would. I wish I would.
It's going to be so much fun. You guys should totally go. But there will be other things happening there. I mean, there are several tracks. We have a finance track. We have, inventory and warehouse management. You have transportation management. There's so many different things and so many different tracks. So basically anybody who has any interest in anybody who really works with AX, they're going to find sessions that are applicable to them. And even if they just go to one of the beginners tracks, like Murray Fife and I know you guys talked to Murray on your last podcast.
Yep.
He and I are actually going to be presenting together on Dynamics Duo.
Sorry, you're going to be presenting on the Dynamic Duo?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're calling it, the Dynamics Duo. But what it is, it's like tips and tricks and just things that you never thought you needed to know about AX, but you're going to be so happy that you came to our session and learned them.
Yeah.
That's typical him.
Oh yeah, we're going to have so much fun.
Yeah, regarding Murray, we also had lately we had well, what happened was we have to talk about Chad. So Chad Carnes is a guy out of he's somewhere in Texas, I think. And he's a really great guy. I've seen his videos before, and he's made these tips and tricks videos, which was kind of good. And he asked me for a while back if he can use one of my tips to make a video. I was like, sure, well, that's awesome. And I really like what he did. And then he wanted to kind of start a podcast as well. And when he started, I said, well, are you going to publish it as a podcast? Are you going to do a YouTube thing? And so I kind of asked him if he wanted to just publish it on our YouTube channel. So it's all about dynamics, and I figured out that more the merrier. And so let's join forces, and you can see him on his our channel. So what he did was he saw the episode with Murray, and then he said, because we're talking about tips and all his tip magic to 100 and everything, and then he said, well, I can do that. So he challenged him to a tip off, and Murray accepted, and we're kind of planning how to do that. And we already got a guest judge lined up who's also prominent within the dynamic space. I'm not gonna fully reveal who that is yet, but so we're gonna have a tip off with Murray and Chad Carnes. They're gonna go head to head, and there's gonna be tips all over, and one of them will become the tip master, or we haven't figured out the title yet. It will probably be something very, very.
Well, that's awesome. I love it. And then another session we're going to be doing is I'm going to show basic user functionality in AX, like 2012, in probably 2012 R3, and he's going to show basic AX functionality, but in Dynamics 365 for operations. So we're going to kind of switch back and forth between the two systems and say, hey, did you know, you can make a favorite. Let me show you how to do it in this system. Let me show you how to do it in this system. And we're actually going to get, into a lot of different things like that, show how to, record, when you're doing your, what is that called?
The task recorder.
Task recorder. Yes. Yeah. Why can I not remember that? Probably because it's late. So.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Are Microsoft going to crash the party again on this summit as usual? Are they going to go and do any presentations themselves? Do you know?
They are the only ones that are really doing a D3FO track, or Dynamics 365 for Operations Enterprise, whatever. They're doing their own track there, except for me. I get to be the outlier with my one little session there, and where we're doing both. So we're going to show how to do one or the other.
So the other tracks will be on AX 2012.
That's the plan, because people on 2012 and 2009. So, and that was a big topic of discussion, because last year there was on Dynamics 365, and everybody was like, oh, it was too much information. And, a lot of people are still just getting into AX, and they're still just learning that. So we're almost having a separate thing with Microsoft for Dynamics 365 for people that are interested in it, but you still have all the AX information. So people are still going to get what they need to do their jobs and transition to that next phase.
Mm. Yeah.
Very nice.
It's going to be good. We're in that weird transition phase. It's going to be kind of difficult, kind of sketchy for a couple of years while we try to figure this out, but we'll get there.
So that is in October?
That is in October 10th through the 13th. If you want to come in a little bit early, you can come in on Monday and Tuesday. They have pre-conference academy training. It's a little bit extra, but it's totally well worth it. You get full deep dive, 4 or 8 hour training sessions on different topics like Power BI, workflows. There are a lot of different things. You can actually get your hands on Dynamics 365 for operations. They have a development class for that. So that's actually a 2-day class, so it should be really good.
Wow.
And there are a lot of other great things going on, outside of the sessions, outside of the learning. You have like a first timers reception party. So that is going to be on Tuesday from 4 to 5. So anybody, it's their first time there. They're going to come and they're going to meet people like me. Who are going to come out and say, hey, you work in AX, tell me what you do, how do you like it? So it's a lot of fun.
You kind of have to, if you want to do something, you kind of have to go back to your childhood, where you just could go next door and ring the doorbell and say, you want to play? And you kind of have to let go of those adult blockages that you've built up over the years, where you don't want to talk to strangers and you don't want to do that. Because you learn that pretty hard when you're young, right? So you have to unlearn that and go talk to strangers and just ask, so what do you do?
Yep.
But I know that is a hard thing to do. So you're going to be.
That's why we're having the first time reception. So all these first timers can come in. They can be like, oh, it's my first time too. And then you're going to have a few other people walking around and say, hey, I'm a veteran. I've been doing this for 3, 4, 5, however many years. And,
Going to be the
let me tell you what you need to do,
Are they going to be sort of like
not yet.
No.
Not yet, but we might do some icebreakers. Oh, that's a good idea. I like this. Yeah. I'm getting ideas. Another thing that's happening is on Wednesday night, they're doing dinner with peers. So they're going to have different groups that are going to go to different restaurants, and you have to reserve this in advance. So you have to say, hey, I want to get in with the finance group, and you're going to go to dinner with all these different finance people, different accounting people, who are going to talk about, this is what I do in AX. Basically, you're going to sit down and talk about AX over food. I did not do that last year. I was like, you know what? I just want to go have a beer. I'm good.
What track, in that capacity, what track would you put yourself in?
Probably system administration.
Okay. Yep. Well, that's very important, because like when you start to talk to peers, you always get that the same issues, and maybe they've solved an issue that you've done. Maybe they've gotten away from the RTM ghosts and moved on. You never know.
Yeah. How do you send invoices
Tell
on
me about
email? Yeah. How do you do this and how do you do that? How do you get workflows to work, etc. Yeah.
Yes. Yep,
Get over
I've been
there and talk to people. Yeah. I think it's brilliant. We're just getting started with those type of events in Europe.
EMEA.
Yeah.
Summit EMEA.
Yeah, and the AXUG. I mean, there are user groups events various places in Europe, but I don't think we don't yet have that same scale as you have in the US with the events, the summit events you have. So yeah, but like Fredrik said, we're going to have something in Norway next week, but in Norwegian though.
So is that like a local chapter?
It's basically like a local chapter meeting, but it is the Dynamics user group. It's pretty much more than that because they have a really tight schedule with a lot of really nice, very skilled people talking about everything on how to do implementation. But it's not a pure AX or a pure sort of like only one application. It's Dynamics in general. So there's a lot of NAV.
Oh.
There's a lot of AX and Dynamics 365. So we're looking forward to. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. Just sitting down in a couch and having a chat with everybody, talking about what we think will be happening, and looking to the glass ball and try and do some predictions. And hopefully we won't get blamed when we're wrong.
Yeah. And I like that they have chosen to cooperate with the AXUG team on the event. That's good. That helps.
So they tried to they were earlier in process of getting people to join, and they got some traction now, and so they're kind of trying to team up with the user group, the Dynamics communities, and try and make something together.
Yeah, so this is what AXUG does around in Europe as well. They do this in the Netherlands, in Denmark, in Germany, what have you. So, but the European events, the summit events we have, those are going to be great for the years to come. Absolutely.
I know they seem really awesome. So they're growing. I like that they're growing. So the Summit of EMEA was a lot bigger this year. Heather asked me to go, and I was like, I just left the D365 Tech Conference, and you want me to go to another conference?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Heather is also coming, Tommy.
Yes, she is. I actually spoke to her on the phone earlier today. So
we'll meet up.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. Really looking forward to it. And then the next one is, of course, for us, Tommy. It is the Summit EMEA is Dublin, right?
Yep. And then and I wonder when they're gonna announce the next technical conference. When that's gonna be, I think it's gonna be, I don't know, April, May. Who knows? I don't know yet, to be honest.
It's usually early in the year.
It is.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna move it later. That's what I've heard.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Well, that's relative, I guess. But yeah, it used to be the first technical conference I was on. That was in November, and then it has been late January, early February. But
so every 14th month or 13th. So it's moving slowly. So you
I expect announcements on what's going on the on-premise story. Bigger announcement. What's new? What's up there? I see a lot of traction there. People are trying to work out how the on-premise story works with AX7. It seems like a lot of people want to do some uptakes on that. Even though we still try to tell people that the cloud is an easier way to go, but
it's not just an easier way. It's so much better.
It's easier, but there is some truth to customers who have potentially recently acquired a lot of server hardware and they want to put their AX there. So that
Cost-
makes
well,
sense.
You maximize your investments, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're considering. We're considering doing on-prem until our servers and our hardware have, reached end of life, and then moving to the cloud.
Don't
So
they have
just
resale
because
value? Can't you? Has anybody thought of just like reselling them?
Or are you buying, Fredrik?
No, I'm starting my own Azure data center in my
Yeah.
basement.
that's awesome.
You could probably sell it to Google. They buy the hardware.
They buy anything. I
Yeah.
don't think Microsoft will do it now. It's going to be exciting. There's a lot of things happening. There's an Apple event today on consumer electronics. I saw they had a watch with the built-in SIM just before I got here. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
So that's happening. You can stream music, and it's a microphone. You can make calls and everything. But it's
From your watch.
They explicitly said, well, if you're going on short trips, if you're going to the store and back. So I think I'm like, oh, that says something about the battery life of that one. But hey, we'll see how that works.
Right.
Well,
Probably give it a couple generations to get better.
oh, it's the third generation. It's
She said a couple of more, right?
Couple more.
I love it. He said it's the exact same body, and then he go like footnotes. But we added like 2 paper sheets at the back. That's not the same.
I haven't seen anything about the Apple announcement yet. So I heard that the iPhone is going to be $1,000. I mean, that's been the big rumor going
It's going
around
to
for
start
months
at
now.
$1,000. It's going to start at $1,000.
$1,000 iPhone. People will buy it.
Yeah, they will.
They will.
Not me though. Not
Are
me.
you in the Apple ecosystem, or are you in?
I do have an iPhone. I do. I have the iPhone 7. I like it because I can iMessage with other Apple devices. That's the big draw for me. And the music, the iTunes store is pretty great. So it took everybody else a little while to get caught up to that. But I like the other devices as well. I'm not just an Apple person. I buy phones for everybody in my company. So, if they want a Samsung, I'm not like, hey, you should get an Apple.
You're not a fanboy or girl?
I'm not.
Sorry.
Fangirl. Yeah, no. Fanboy.
Yeah, is that a thing? If you, I know the fanboy is like a term, but would you say fangirl?
Yeah, I don't see why not. Right?
Like, don't feel it's a gender to being a fanboy. It's just a state of mind.
I think you could say that.
Yeah. Well, I think we should kind of shout out to Lindsay, because we were going to have Lindsay on as well. And
Yes.
but did she fall?
Her leg.
Oh,
She broke a leg. Literally.
I'm not really sure how it happened. I just, like I've said, I've been traveling, so I just heard what you guys have heard. And she broke her leg, and I'm like, ouch, that really sucks.
that is awful. Is she going to? Yeah, she was going to join us, but she wasn't able to. I think she has something to do tomorrow. So
well, she's getting surgery. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's having surgery tomorrow. So
good luck.
she's actually going to be riding around a scooter at Summit. It's really going to kill her chances of line dancing. I tell you what.
No, you'll do some type of like handicap line dance or something.
Special
Isn't
line
that
dance
a
for
thing?
her
There
with
should be.
she'll ride her scooter.
Like you can do line
Poor
dance
Lindsay.
and scooter. I love to see that. So we have to get her on, because I was hoping to get her talking about. I saw her talking about the customer and partner engagement and the dynamics of, no pun intended, between customer and partner. And
Yes.
I love that session. I would kind of just love to have her on and talking about that, because everybody should get into Lindsay's sessions, even if she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, she's great. She's really
She's
good.
awesome. She
And
talks
come
like
to mine too.
well, yeah, of course. Go check out Kelly's shows at. Do you know when your sessions are?
I
Are there
have
any-
4 this year. I actually have one on Wednesday about MRP. Basically, it's customer experiences. What have you learned? How do you implement ERP or not ERP, MRP? And does the nightmare end? So that's the nightmare does end. We learned it. We figured it out. We're doing great. Then I've got my one of my sessions with Murray where we show the AX 2012 and the Dynamics 365 environments. We're going to flip-flop back and forth with basic functionality. Then the next day on Friday, so that one was on Thursday. And then on Friday, I have another one, the tips and tricks with Murray. We're just going to get in AX and just show all these tips and tricks, and we're going to kind of bounce back and forth. And we're pretty funny when we're together. So, if you're looking for an early morning, Friday morning session that's going to crack you up, you should come out and see us, because we will definitely do that. And then Friday at the end of the day, Frank Vukovitz and I are going to talk about audits. So financial audits and AX and what you need to look at from the finance side, the IT side, and we will have beer.
Oh yeah, that helps. Audits and beer. Audits and beer, people.
That's right. Our session's called Not to Fear, AX Audits and Beer. So
and that's
be really
AXUG.
fun.
That is the AXUG for you. They always have some nice, catchy presentation titles. Yeah.
We have to come up with those on our own too.
Oh, you be funny. I love it when somebody says you have to make a joke. Just go ahead, make a joke. Come on, you got 5 minutes. Yeah, what's your title?
I know.
Heather. Anywho, thank you so much for joining us, Kelly. I really like to have you on. Hopefully,
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks. It is a lot of fun. We just sit around, chat here every other week with people. We're looking to do a sort of a CRM crossover. We're trying to get one of the MVPs from the CRM. It's called customer engagement now, but the other side of the product to talk to us about how are we going to do integrations and why on earth would you want to go to a CRM when you don't have to.
That will be awesome.
Yeah, we're looking to do that, and there's the tip off coming. We have to do the tip off, and we got some other things planned out, and we got to have Lindsay on when she gets better.
No doubt.
She's off her meds. We'll get her on. Hopefully she'll
sure. She'll have a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Very nice. I'm sure there's nothing else. Well, check us out on Dynamics Podcast. That's dynpodcast.com. And check out Kelly's AX Soup on axsoup.com, where she talks about everything funny about AX and Dynamics 365 for finance and operations.
Too.
Sorry, she can.
I said you can learn stuff too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in a more pleasant way than many other blogs. There aren't that many who try to get a common, easy tone like your blogs. So go check out AX Soup. It is awesome, and follow Kelly at Kelly Lap Kane on Twitter. And you all
AX Soup has a Twitter handle as well.
Exactly.
Yep. At AX Soup.
True.
Yep, at AX Soup. Follow me at AX Fredrik, and Tommy just at Skaue. No AX, just at Skaue. And please don't tweet anything about the Game of Thrones plots and who dies.
And rearrange.
He already knows.
Yeah, dies and wakes up again and is frozen or whatever, what have you.
Oh well. You'll know. We won't spoil anything.
Covered in snow. Yep.
Very good. You don't have to. You should just be off the scale, not reading any news, and then just get into it afterwards. So because Tommy is going to go through. How long would you think you'll take to get through all the 7 seasons?
Just a few months. I'll watch an episode every night. So
it's better that way. It's better that way. I wish I've kind of saved it up as well and just like binge watch it, because it is an awesome series. You're in season 2 right now, which is kind of like a softcore part of the production before it kind of went super viral, and they didn't have to do that to get an audience. Season 3 is also a bit like nudity and stuff, and then it gets good. But
The only thing I've ever heard about is the bloody wedding or something.
The red wedding.
The red wedding. There you go. I don't know Game of Thrones. Sorry, guys.
You haven't seen it? You should
No,
go
I've
see
never
it, definitely. Oh my god, that is the best TV
I just know
series,
everybody
like,
was
ever.
losing their mind about the red wedding. It was like, oh my gosh, the red wedding, and that's all I know.
Yeah.
And dragons.
Yeah, dead dragons. Well, see you later, guys. This has been our episode. Check out Dynamics Podcast on dynpodcast.com. Check out Tommy at yet another AX blog. Yet another AX.com. And check out my at dyntips.com. We'll be back shortly and have some very cool things to show you about or talk about when it comes to CRM. So stay tuned. Bye, guys.
Bye.